This presentation is created to give more information and understanding about the new maintenance fee setup in Alpine Dahlia, as well the recalculation exercise that may be needed to come to a new setup. First of all, let's have a look at the Alpine and Dahlia owners. They are strata owners, which means that if you are a strata owner or occupier, you are the individual owner of your unit. You are subjected to pay a monthly maintenance fee to join the management body, which is called JMB, and this maintenance and management charges are for taking care of your common property under the Strata Management Act 2013 that came into effect on June the 1st, 2015. Maintenance fees is an amount of money that the strata owner pays to the joint management body, JMB, of a condo, apartment, gated and guarded community or any stratified property to properly manage and maintain the common property in the development. So what is a common property? A common property is the development areas used or capable of being used or enjoyed by occupier or owner of a strata property. It normally includes green areas, public amenities and facilities, as well as common areas such as corridors, drainages, and the roofs inside one development. So who should pay the maintenance fees? Every proprietor or strata owner shall pay the maintenance fees to the JMB for the maintenance and management of common property. And how are these maintenance fees determined? Initially, the developer, in this particular example, Massing, defined the maintenance fees because the share units are not yet calculated. In this situation, the fixed maintenance fees for Alpine were 136 ringgit per month. The fixed maintenance fees for Dahlia were 170 ringgit per month. The total monthly maintenance fee collections therefore are 40 Dahlia units with 170 ringgit, amounting 6,800, and 45 Alpine units, 415 Alpine units, amounting 136 ringgit, with a total of 56,440. The total collections per month to maintain everything in Alpine Dahlia therefore was 63,240 ringgit. Now let's talk about fixed fee to share units. After the share units are calculated per lot by a licensed surveyor and approved by the COB, a maintenance fee set up based on share units must be implemented. Because Section 6 of the Strata Management Act in 2013 makes it compulsory that a developer cannot sell any parcel, stratified properties, whether commercial or residential, unless the schedule of parcels has been filed with the Commissioner of Building, COB. Thus, it's incumbent upon the developer's license and surveyor and registered architect to certify that the building land is capable of being subdivided. A developer has to display the schedule of parcels in a conspicuous location at the point of sale so that the purchasers know what they are getting eventually. So with the share units being calculated according to the first schedule of the Strata Management Act 2013, sharing of responsibility in maintaining the common areas will be more equitable and transparent, and developers are also required to pay maintenance charging, sinking funds and other outgoings for their unsold units. And that's what's going on in Alpine as well, because Massing needs to pay maintenance fees for the units that is not being sold. So how to go from fixed fee setup to share units? Step number 1. A licensed surveyor needs to calculate all the unit lots and to define the total unit shares. The Emmer2 Alpine Dahlia total share units are 52,806. Step 2. During the AGM, a monthly budget will be approved. At the second AGM, 24th of February, conducted, it is approved that 68,647.80 is the monthly expenses budget. Step number 2, the cost ratio is the approved budget divided by the total share units, which is 68,647.80 cents divided by 52,806, which is an amount of 1 ringgit and 30 cents. Step 4, the maintenance fee that you pay now is the unit shares of your lot times the cost ratio. This is the total project, Caspia, Birch, Alpine and Dahlia. We're talking about this area. Based on the share unit calculations, there are 11 differences in share units here. If we look at this picture, all the houses here are not the same. As you can see, based on the share unit calculations, there are 11 differences in the share units here. At the left you can see there are 4 Alpine lots that have more than 280 share units. As you can see here, here, here and here. 4 units have more than 280 share units. There are 40 Dahlia lots who each have 253 share units. 253, there are 40 lots of this. And there are 391 Alpine lots that have 97 share units only. You see, this is the lowest share unit. And there are 391 units of this. Ultimately, you see, this is the total lots, 455 lots. These are the total share units, 52,806. And this is the total contribution in maintenance fee per month, which we call the monthly budget. And you see the cost ratio is 1 ringgit and 30 cents. So the 1st July implemented maintenance fee setup is being approved during the 2nd AGM. This implementation should take place 1st of April, which is not being done by the previous property manager, unfortunately. The new appointed property manager asked 18th June the CUB to approve a fixed fee setup, but the CUB unfortunately did not approve it, so we could not have another setup to lower the burden, because we already thought it would create a big impact to especially the 64 people. So what are the financial consequences of this maintenance fees setup? As you can see here are all the different units, the different lot numbers and the share units. You see the previous amount that they paid in this column. You see Alpine people paid 136, but they have tremendous amount of share units here. But they paid only 136 ringgit. The new service fee is much higher here, which you see the difference of this particular lot is 267 ringgit more per month. So what we can see in this new setup is that the units with the bigger share unit size pay much more per month, as you can see, all the way going down from 52 ringgit up to 267 ringgit more per month. 64 owners are therefore having a huge financial increase in maintenance fees per month. What are the financial consequences of the 391 owners who have the smallest share units to pay? They pay 9 ringgit and 10 cents less per month. As you can see, this unit starting from 65 all the way up to 455, which is 391 owners, they pay 126 ringgit and 10 cents, which is 9 ringgit and 90 cents lower than the previous fee. So this must be corrected in 9 ringgit and 90 cents, almost 10 ringgit. Sorry for the typo error here, but this is the difference. They pay 9 ringgit and 90 cents lower every month. So what is happening now? The owners of the lots with the bigger share units are unhappy with the legally required and implemented share unit maintenance fee setup because they pay more. These owners care to reduce their maintenance fees as it is much more than they paid earlier. However, almost all of the 391 owners who now pay 126 ringgit and 10 cents are happy with their fees, and most of them don't want to pay more than they pay now. So we did some feedback requirements and are collecting feedback from owners, and what we find out is that for those people who pay more right now, of course, we received 47 feedbacks and 44 people say the maintenance fee is too high. I cannot accept this new maintenance fee, 57%. The financial burden is too high for me, 55%. So mainly 94% of all the feedbacks that we got from the people with the highest share units don't like this maintenance fees, of course, because it is a tremendous burden for them. However, we did another survey for all the owners, and 61 owners responded on a final survey saying that 84.3% want to remain the 126 and 10 cents, and they don't want to pay extra monthly maintenance fees because they're happy with the current fee. There are some owners, especially the Dahlia and the Alpine with the biggest share units, that already paid more than 126, so they could not answer this question. But the rest, only 13.7% say, I want to go back to 136 ringgit. Why? Because if we want to recalculate the maintenance fee setup, somebody need to pay more. So this was one option, 136 ringgit. These people have to pay a bit more to see if we can lower the top. Another option, we asked people who wants to pay 151 ringgits every month. There were only 3 people saying, I want to pay more to make sure that other people can pay less. So this is only 5.9%. Bottom line, the majority of the 391 owners don't want to pay more than they pay now, which is 126 ringgit and 10 cents. To recalculate the 1st July maintenance fee setup to another setup, it needs to be understood that certain parameters cannot be changed. First of all, the share units per lot, you cannot change that because it's been calculated by a licensed surveyor and it's approved by the COB. As well, the total share units cannot be changed because that is the sum of all the individual lot share units. So what can be changed? Number 1, the budget or the cost ratio per lot. Now let's have a look at number 1, the budget. What you see here is a sheet with all the costs with the different budgets. If we change the budgets with 8% going down from 68,000 to 63,000 to 58,000 to 52,000, then we ultimately will create a lower budget. And what happens is, if the budget is being adjusted 8% every time, everyone has a cost reduction of 8%. Okay, so if the budget goes down ultimately to 52,896, then everybody's maintenance fees will decrease with 24%. However, the current monthly expenses are average around 62,000. This is exclusive the CCTV maintenance service contract that is being approved in the AGM as well, which is budgeted for 7K, so the actual expenses should go up to 68 or 69. That means that right now we're already at the budget in the actual expenses. So if we decrease the budget, we may get a problem to pay certain bills in the future. So what recalculation scenarios we have? We can change the cost ratio. In the current second AGM, it's approved that the cost ratio for all the lots is 1.3, which you can see right here. Okay, so in this, everyone pays only the amount of maintenance fees according to the share units. If you have a share unit of 310, you pay 403 ringgit. 298 pays 387.40 cents. If your share units are only 97, you pay 126.10 cents. That means everybody pays only amount that is based on your share units. Bigger lots pay more than smaller lots. Scenario number 1. If we want to recalculate the current maintenance fee setup, we could have a look at everybody is paying the same amount. If we have the total budget of 68,647.80 cents and we divide that by the 455 owners, that gives an amount of 151 ringgit. This would be wonderful because all pay the same fee and everybody would be happy. This is what you may believe. But the beautiful thing is it gives a room for a burden reduction for the highest share units. However, 391 people must pay around 24 ringgit and 90 cents more per month to create this buffer. As you can see here, this Alpine person with a lot of 97 share units must pay 24 ringgit and 90 cents more, and these are unit number 65 up to 455, which is 391 unit owners that need to pay around 25 ringgit more per month. In the survey, it comes out that these people are not willing to pay that amount of money. So the scenario, all pay the same fee, would not be a realistic scenario because most people will not vote for it. So what we're going to do in this scenario, a recalculation scenario number 2. Scenario number 2, bigger share units arrange it among themselves. So one scenario is that the 64 owners will seek to reduce the burden among themselves. That means that the 391 owners keep paying 126.10 per month because the survey shows that they not intend to pay more. So we can see here the 97 share unit owner times 391 owners will still pay 126.10, and this group they need to pay a similar amount to reduce the burden of everyone, and the amount will be 295 ringgit. If everybody in this group pay 295 ringgit, you will see that the person with the share units 310 will have a burden reduction of 108 ringgit. The other person, 92 ringgit, 89 ringgit. So we see a lot of burden reductions from 108 ringgit to 33 ringgit. However, at this range, we see that the threshold of 295 ringgit meets the current 1st July setup. In simple words, what it means is that the equalizing of all the fees for all the units ultimately will meet the threshold of the current maintenance fee cost, and it will mean that 19 owners will pay 11 to 106 ringgit monthly more. Because if we have the top range to pay less, then the bottom range need to pay more. So we think that this scenario will cause trouble for those people. You see here 106 ringgit, 106 ringgit, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people need to pay more than 106 ringgit. So these people pay less, these people pay more. That will create trouble in this group as well. Another scenario, number 3, could be that bigger share units get an equal 7% lower burden. What does that mean? The people in the lower category, they pay 126 ringgit and 10 cents. 391 people pay this amount, which is around 9 ringgit and 90 cents lower than they paid before. This equals around 7% cost reduction. It is not a reduction because their lot is smaller. They only have a lot of 97 share units. But in their budget it feels like a cost reduction. So if we want to give these people with the higher share units a cost reduction of similar like them 7%, that will mean that the consequence of this, these people in the upper echelon will pay less money, which is 7% less. Everybody pays 7% of their 1st July maintenance fee setup, lower amount, 7%, 7%, 7%, 7%, which would be wonderful. At least they have a certain cost reduction. Some may say, hey, this is not enough. However, relatively, it is the same amount as a percentage-wise of the people in the lower category. The downside of this scenario is that because these people only pay lower amounts and it's not being compensated by the people in the down category, the budget will be impacted negatively. And how it will be impacted is, you can see here that the budget that we have to make is 68,647.80 cents. But if we go for this scenario, we will only make a budget of 67,293.81 cents, which is 1,353 ringgit lower. Now, this has to be approved in the AGM if we want to go for this type of option. Conclusions of this presentation is: the approved maintenance fee setups implemented in the 1st July. 47 owners who have much more share units than others pay much more now, and the majority is therefore unhappy. The only ways to change the current maintenance fee setup is to adjust the budget, which may be risky because it matches the current actual expenses, or number 2, to change the cost ratios. So that means, for example, that artificially we start increase costs for lower share units and we start to reduce costs for higher share units to equalize the burden as best as we can do. However, to recalculate the maintenance fee setup, it is difficult because the majority of the 391 owners, which the survey shows that is 84.3%, they are happy to pay the 126 ringgit and 10 cents, and they're not planning to pay more. Because there is no leverage enough to reduce the burden for the lots with the high share units. Number 2, why is it difficult to recalculate the maintenance fee setup? Because to remain the same budget, lowering cost at one side will mean increasing cost at another side. And therefore, the JMB decided to not have an EGM right now because it may not be feasible. However, the JMB planned to discuss with the 64 owners about these scenarios prior to make any decision to have an EGM to see what is possible and what can be done to recalculate the current maintenance fees.